Today, I want to talk about something that trips up a lot of law firms, and it has to do with how you collect retainers through LawPay. So, if your law firm uses MyCase and LawPay together, you probably feel like your trust accounting is handled automatically, right? And in some cases, it is. But there's a gap that I see firms fall into over and over, and it can cause real problems with your trust accounting records if nobody catches it. So, today, I want to break down what's actually happening behind the scenes. So when a client pays you through LawPay, there's two different paths that a payment can take. The first path is when someone at your firm sends the client a payment request using the request retainer funds feature inside of MyCase. And when you use this feature, MyCase knows exactly what that payment's for. It automatically posts that payment into the correct client trust ledger. This is the path that gives you that smooth automatic feeling. The second path is when a client pays using your firm's universal law pay link. Now, this is the general payment link that you might have on your website. It might be in your email signature or that you sent directly to a client without going through MyCase to initiate that payment request. But here's what's happening. A payment made through that universal link does not automatically post into your MyCase trust accounting records. Now, it shows up in LawPay, and it's even going to show up on your LawPay report, your deposit report that is in MyCase in the reporting section. And the money shows up in your bank account, but MyCase, the system does not know what that payment's for unless someone manually told it before the money came into the firm. I talk to a lot of law firm owners and staff who believe that because LawPay is connected to their MyCase account, that every payment that comes in through LawPay is automatically recorded the same way. And that's absolutely an easy assumption to make because the two systems are integrated. But integration does not mean that every feature behaves the same way. The request retainer funds is a very specific workflow built for trust accounting. The universal payment link is a general purpose tool, and it's great for getting paid quickly, and it's very convenient for clients, but it was not built with the same trust accounting logic behind it. So if a client pays through the universal link and nobody manually records that payment in the correct trust ledger inside MyCase, here's what can happen. Your bank account shows the money coming in, but your trust ledger does not. And this creates a mismatch between what your bank says and what your accounting records say. And if your state requires regular trust account reconciliations, which every jurisdiction I know of does, this mismatch is going to show up when you do your month end three-way trust reconciliation. And if it sits there for weeks or if you're not caught up on your trust reconciliations for months, it gets harder to track down which payment belongs to which client. And this is not usually a sign of bad intentions. It's almost always a process gap. The money's safe, it's sitting in the trust account, but the record keeping has not caught up. So, what's the fix? Luckily, the fix for this is simple and it does not require expensive software or a big process overhaul. What you need is someone at your law firm needs to review all incoming LawPay transactions, and I recommend at least once a week. The goal of this review is to answer one question for every single payment. Was this payment requested through MyCase or did it come through the universal link? Now, how you can tell is if you go into reports and then go into the LawPay deposit report, when you scroll through, you'll notice the ones that are hyperlinked, meaning the name. If you hover your mouse, the pointer is normally the little arrow. And if you hover the pointer over a client's name on the MyCase deposit report, if it's hyperlinked, that turns into a finger, a pointy finger, right? Meaning you can click it and it'll take you to that client's account within MyCase. That did correctly post to the client's account. When you take the pointer and you point it on and you hover over a name on the LawPay deposit report, and it does not turn into the pointy finger and does not do anything when you click the client's name listed on the report, then it is not correctly posted to the client's account. Now, for any payment that came in through the universal link, someone needs to manually go into MyCase and record that payment into the correct client ledger account. This usually just takes a couple of minutes per payment, especially if you build it into a regular weekly habit. Now, I recommend assigning this task to one specific person. It can be an office manager, your bookkeeper, or whoever handles your firm's financial administration. This is important part is that it's not left to just someone will get to it task. It needs to have an owner and a regular frequency on the calendar. Here are the three things I'd encourage you to check on this week. First, ask your team how clients are currently paying retainers. Are most payments coming through the MyCase request feature, or is it through the universal LawPay link being shared more often than you realize? Second, ask whether anyone is currently reviewing the LawPay transactions against MyCase trust records. If the answer is no, then that's your sign to start this week. And third, look back at least the last 30 days of LawPay activity and compare it to your MyCase trust ledgers. And if you find any gap, don't panic. This is common and it's completely fixable. The goal is just to catch it early and build the weekly habit going forward. The single workflow gap is one of the most common trust accounting issues I see in firms that use MyCase and LawPay together. And it's also one of the easiest things to fix once you know about it. Trust accounting compliance is not about being perfect every single day. It's about having a regular check that catches the small issues before they become big ones. And simple weekly review of your LawPay activity against your MyCase trust records is one of the highest value, lowest effort habits you can build into your firm's financial operations. Now, trust accounting rules vary by state. So if you have specific questions about your state's requirements, check with your state bar or you can ask your accountant. If you found this video helpful for your law firm, let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe for future episodes.